volunteering and extracurriculars, and my resume. So volunteering is something that I still lack in. So I got my SHPEP shirt on today, so that must mean it's time for an SHPEP video. Welcome to Melanated Medicine. My name is Olivia, and before I get into this video, make sure you click subscribe. It'll probably be like right there or right there. It'll be down here somewhere, so make sure you click subscribe. So today I'm going to talk about a program that has been near and dear to my heart called SHPEP. For those of you guys who don't know, SHPEP stands for Summer Health Professions Education Program. It's a 6-week medical internship, and it is across 13 different sites throughout the United States. It's at UT Houston, LSU, University of Iowa, University of Nebraska, UCLA, Western University, Case Western University. This year, the Ivy League they picked was Columbia University. They have it at Howard University and a few other schools as well. Each year it kind of changes. Each site has pre-med and pre-dental, but then there are also pre-physical therapy, pre-vet, pre-pharmacy at each of the sites. It just varies. Today I wanted to answer a bunch of questions I've had about the program so everybody can get a better idea. So I'm just going to go down a list, so bear with me, and yeah, let's get it. So, eligibility. To be eligible for this program, you have to be a rising sophomore or a rising junior. So it's 2017 right now. We're about to start fall 2017 semester. So basically class of 20 and class of 21 are the people that are eligible right now. Obviously, if you watch this video next year, 2 years from now, that's going to change. But class of 20 and class of 21, you guys are the ones that are eligible right now. You have to have a minimum 2.5 GPA. You have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. And you have to have a letter of recommendation. You have to complete 2 essays, which are the diversity essay and then the personal statement. And then you have to fill out the personal information, like where you live, where you go to school, and you send your transcript in. The 2 essays are the diversity statement and the personal essay. Diversity statement is basically just asking you, like, you know, how would you promote diversity in healthcare or in medicine or in dentistry or whatever you're doing. And the personal statement, they ask like a question. The question is kind of along the lines of, you know, why is SHPEP important for you, like, you know, to further your medical career, to further your dentistry career, whatever career you want to go into. I'm probably going to make another video about personal statements because it's something I get a lot of questions about. And personal statements are very important because they can make or break your application. A question I got was, what was my GPA when I applied? I don't want to say my exact GPA. I didn't have a 4.0, but I did have above, or I do have above a 3.5. So that's that. But disclaimer, your GPA really is not everything. Your GPA is important, yes. Like, of course, you need to have the minimum 2.5, but if you don't have a 4.0, don't think you're not going to get in. And if you do have a 4.0, don't think you're an automatic shoo-in, because you're not. Again, as I said in one of my last videos, you have to be a well-rounded applicant. If you're not a well-rounded applicant, your GPA is just there and it's just naked. Early versus regular admission. So the early deadline is February 1st, and if you have everything in by February 1st, you'll get an answer by February 15th. Regular deadline is, I believe, March 15th. I'm not too sure about that. Don't quote me. It's somewhere in March, and if you have everything done by then, you'll get an answer April 1st. Disclaimer about early deadline. A lot of us have this problem in my program. We had everything in and postmarked before February 15th, or before February 1st, but they said because it wasn't in their hands February 1st that it wasn't considered early. So if you want to be considered early, it needs to be in their hands before February 1st. And they do take a long time because, again, there's a lot of people that apply for this program. So the quicker you get your things in, the better for you. And also, the quicker you get your application in, the better of a chance you have of getting into a site, because, you know, you're one of the first applications that they see. Another thing about picking a site, if you have a site that's in your city or in your state, definitely apply to that site because you have a really high chance of getting into that site. So the 3 sites that I applied for were the Howard site, the LSU site, and the UT Houston site. I'm from Houston, Texas, so the Houston site was common sense to me, And then I applied to the LSU site because it was right next door to me and they offered academic credit. And then I applied to the Howard site because Howard was always a school that I wanted to go to. I got into the Houston site, I got waitlisted to the LSU site, and I got denied from the Howard site. I got accepted to the Houston site. Of course, like, I met the credentials and they liked my personal statement, they liked my diversity essay and whatnot. But what a lot of people don't know is that they have to pick a certain amount of people from that area. Majority of the people at the Houston site were from Texas. So they have to meet a certain quota, like, for their program for that summer. So if you live in Maryland or Washington, D.C., apply to the Howard site. In your head, you might be like, but I don't want to be in the DMV for the summer. It doesn't matter, apply, because you have a very good chance of getting into that site. So volunteering, extracurriculars, and my resume. Volunteering is something that I lacked in. I still lack in it, so I lack in. I didn't have any volunteer hours on my resume, so I wouldn't suggest that, but if you don't have volunteer hours on your resume, there are other ways to make yourself look like a well-rounded applicant. Extracurriculars, I was only in the biology club and the Black Student Union, so I had those on there. I had some things from high school, but I tried not to include a lot of things from high school because they didn't really look at high school. They really looked at, like, your college experience. And then my resume was just a basic resume. I learned how to write a resume, I think, sophomore year of high school. If you don't know how to write one, you can really just ask someone older than you, or you can just find, like, resume templates online. Just search it up in Google or something like that. So, how to get a recommendation. You have to go up to people and talk to them. And this doesn't just apply in recommendations. This applies in anything in life. Shadowing, recommendations, anything. Like, you have to go to people because people aren't just going to come to you and be like, hey, you look a great person, I want to write you a recommendation. Like, no, you have to go and say, hey, Professor so-and-so, I would really appreciate if you could write my letter of recommendation for this program I want to apply to. I had my recommendation written by my biology professor, and I asked him in advance. I asked him, I think I asked him in December, right before we left for winter break, because you don't want it to be a situation where, oh, I couldn't write your letter of recommendation because I was so busy. Ask them in advance and give them time, and kind of remind them, give them gentle reminders. Don't email them every day hey, where's my letter of recommendation? Maybe every other week, hey, Professor so and so, have you written it? Something of that sort. The juicy part, a day in the life of SHPEP. So here's my SHPEP handbook. Here's my SHPEP handbook and my SHPEP schedule for 6 weeks. SHPEP is not a walk in the park. I'm just going to say that right now. It's not you wake up whenever you want to wake up. You go to the hospital, you spend all day at the hospital, because you didn't spend all day at the hospital. You spent a lot of your time in classes learning things. So I'm just going to read 2 or 3 days off of what we did. So each week we would be at the medical school, the dentistry school, the nursing school, or the public health school. We took 5 classes. We took anatomy and physiology with the lab, physics, organic chemistry, biostatistics, and microbiology. These classes weren't for credit, but we did have tests and homework and things of that sort in them. So at the medical school, one day we would have breakfast from 7:30 to 8 in the morning, then microbiology from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., then anatomy and physiology with the lab from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., then anatomy and physiology with the lecture from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'd have a town hall lunch every week, just once a week. And a town hall lunch is where everybody sits together, we eat lunch, and we talk about, the week, how things are going, things of that sort. 1 to 2 p.m. we'd have a medicine lecture by our medical advisor, and then we would go to the School of Dentistry between 2 and 3. We'd take the shuttle there, and from 3 to 5 we had a professional preparation financial literacy class, and then at 5 p.m. we would take the shuttle back to the medical school, and we would go back to our dorms. And then another week we were at the School of Public Health. So from 7:30 to 8, breakfast, 8 to 10, physics, 10 to 12, microbiology, lunch at 12, and then at 1 o'clock, organic chemistry. 3 o'clock, we would have a public health lecture / student panel, and then we would have dinner at 5 to 6. We also ate dinner together once a week, and then we would take the shuttle back to the medical school. So as you can see, SHPEP is not a walk in the park. And if you paid attention, you heard me say breakfast was at 7:30 to 8, meaning that you had to wake up at 6. we stayed at Rice University. For those of you guys who don't know, UT Houston is a professional school, so they don't have like undergrad housing. They only have professional housing, which is taken up by like their medical students and things of that sort. So we stayed at Rice University, and we would walk from Rice University to the medical school. It was like a maybe 5-10 minute walk. Rice University is literally in the heart of the medical center, so it really wasn't that bad. Staying at Rice University, it was cool. Honestly, it was free, so you can't complain that much, but there were times when, you know, we would get kind of annoyed with, you know, where we were staying and stuff like that, but it was cool. You're paired with a roommate, but you don't know who your roommate is, but you don't pick your roommate. Like, they'll send you an email and tell you who your roommate is and things of that sort. We didn't have access to Rice's gym. We didn't have access to Rice's cafeteria. You could buy what they call a Tetra card and use it at Rice to eat and whatnot, but I wouldn't recommend that because you're not going to have any time to eat at Rice anyways. We already get meal tickets, and we eat at the Memorial Hermann Cafe, which is the same distance as the medical school, about 5 or 10 minutes. Staying at Rice, I just talked about that, duh. Yeah, shadowing. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions about shadowing at SHPEP, and I just want to say, disclaimer, each site is different. So what happens at the Houston site might not happen at the Howard site, and what happens at the Howard site might not happen at the UCLA site. At the Houston site, you only shadow one time. I know that sounds kind of like, oh my gosh, why are you only shadowing one time? SHPEP is not a shadowing-based program. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely look for something else. It's not a shadowing-based program. I shadowed twice because I shadowed with the one of the people on the admissions boards. He's a neurologist, so I shadowed with him as well during the program. But usually you only shadow once at the Houston site, which is, it makes sense because if you look at our schedule, it's pretty packed. Like, you really don't have that much time to shadow or anything like that. So just to wrap up this video, SHPEP was like the best thing that happened to me this summer, and it definitely has a driving force in why I want to become a pediatric surgeon. It definitely gave me confidence and let me know that, you know, I'm capable of doing what I want to do, that nobody can stop me, that, you know, I'm my biggest enemy. And that doesn't just go for me, that goes for anybody. You're your biggest enemy. So if you qualify and you're eligible to apply to SHPEP, please apply. Like, please apply. Like, please apply. I'm begging you. I'm begging you, Pico. I gotta stop with African accents. But seriously, apply. It's life-changing. You'll love it. You'll make friends that last a lifetime. We have a group chat. We still use our group chat. Like, we still keep it updated and things like that. A lot of us go to the same schools, or we see each other at different events, and we stay in touch. And, you know, it's just a good way to network. You know, I met a lot of my connections through SHPEP, and these are people that are mentoring me right now. These are people that I know I'm going to have in my life for years and years to come. So if anybody has any more questions, definitely leave a comment below. Definitely comment and tell me what you want to see, what kind of videos you want, you know, things of that sort. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on my socials, you know, Twitter, Snapchats. Add me on Facebook, add me on MySpace, kick me, Cash App me, PayPal me, you know, all the good stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching another Melanated Medicine video, and I will see y'all later.
Keep off in the main, Eminem, sweet like candy.